15,000 Venezuelan troops mass at the Colombian frontier. Caracas calls it defense. Washington calls it cartel cover. US destroyers patrol the Caribbean. Bounties on Maduro climb, and whispers of invasion spread through the region. Caught in the crossfire, Colombia's President Petro denying the cartel of the suns while warning against imperial plots. This is not just a border buildup, it's a war of nerves across Latin America. "15,000 Venezuelan troops are on the move. The border states of Zulia and Táchira, long corridors for smuggling, migration, and conflict, are now the stage for one of the largest deployments in years. On August 25th, Venezuelan authorities announced the mobilization, insisting it was about security, not provocation. For Washington, however, the buildup looks like something else: cartel cover under the flag of national defense. The announcement came from Diosdado Cabello, Venezuela's Interior and Justice Minister, and one of Nicolás Maduro's closest allies. He framed the deployment as part of Operation Relámpago del Catatumbo, a rolling plan of peace zones meant to secure the border.
The president, Nicolás Maduro, has ordered a special operational reinforcement of Operation Relámpago del Catatumbo and has extended it to the state of Táchira with Peace Zone Number 1. In the first phase, he has ordered the deployment of 15,000 men and women on the Venezuelan side as reinforcements, on top of those we already have, up to the border of the state of Táchira. Next will come Peace Zone Number 2 and then Peace Zone Number 3. All of this is on the border with our sister country, Colombia.
Cabello went further, urging Colombia to mirror the buildup if it wanted true stability on the frontier.
We hope that the Colombian side will do the same on their border to prevent any group from moving back and forth. The best guarantee of peace on the border is for each side to guard its own area as it should.
The rhetoric was calm, even cooperative, but the timing told another story. For weeks, US Navy destroyers have patrolled the southern Caribbean, part of a broader anti-narcotics mission stretching across Latin America. For Washington, Maduro's moves fit a familiar pattern: asymmetric defiance under the cover of counter-narcotics. The accusations are not new. US officials have long linked Maduro and Cabello to the Cartel de los Soles, the Cartel of the Suns, a shadowy network of military officers accused of trafficking cocaine. Under Trump, the campaign intensified. Washington not only sanctioned senior Venezuelan officials, but also labeled the criminal gang Tren de Aragua a global terrorist organization. This month, the State Department escalated the pressure still further, doubling its bounty for Maduro's capture to $50 million. In Caracas, the message was received and reframed. Venezuelan state media began speculating about a US-led invasion. Maduro himself cast the confrontation as a test of sovereignty and survival.
I am confident that we will overcome this test that life has imposed on us, this imperialist threat to the peace of the continent and to our country.
With troops on the frontier, destroyers off the coast, and rumors swirling online, Caracas insists it is defending peace. Washington insists it is watching a narco-state militarize. And caught in between lies Colombia, a neighbor, an ally, and a target of suspicion. For Colombia's President Gustavo Petro, the stakes could hardly be higher. Venezuela's troop buildup has turned his borderlands into the epicenter of a regional confrontation and placed him in the crossfire of two irreconcilable narratives. On one side stands Caracas, claiming the deployment was made in knowledge and cooperation with Bogotá. On the other hand, Washington, where accusations of cartel collusion swirl. The pressure sharpened when Florida Congressman Carlos Jimenez, a Cuban-born Republican and one of the most vocal critics of Latin America's left, issued a direct challenge.
Mr. Petro, what Diosdado says, is it true or are you going to deny it? If Petro cooperates with Diosdado and the Cartel de los Soles, he would be complicit in a transnational drug trafficking enterprise and could be indicted by American justice. Gustavo Petro just signed his own sentence. In the US Congress, we will not take this as a joke. On the contrary, this is very serious.
It was a warning shot and a trap. Petro fired back, denying Jimenez's claims and rejecting the very existence of the Cartel of the Suns.
The Cartel of the Suns does not exist. It is the fictitious excuse of the extreme right to overthrow governments that do not obey them. The passage of Colombian cocaine through Venezuela is controlled by a drug trafficking directorate, whose bosses live in Europe and the Middle East.
But Petro did not stop there. He sought to recast the debate altogether, proposing a regional solution that bypassed Washington's pressure politics and Caracas's defiance.
I propose to the US and Venezuela that we together destroy that cartel. It is about coordinating, not subjugating. The political problem in Venezuela must be resolved among Venezuelans themselves, through dialogue and more democracy. A decarbonized Venezuela should be the goal. The Great Colombia, a world power of life and an essential pillar of Latin American unity and peace.
It was an audacious balancing act, half visionary, half evasive. Yet the gap between Petro's rhetoric of decarbonized democracy and Washington's warnings of cartel complicity reveals just how fractured this moment has become. Behind the drama lies a deeper reality. The United States has little appetite for a ground war in South America. Its campaign is calibrated. Sanctions to strangle oil revenues, indictments to discredit leaders, warships to intimidate, and multi-million-dollar rewards to fracture loyalties inside Venezuela's armed forces. This is not a conventional war. It is a war of nerves. Caracas plays up the invasion threat to rally its base. Washington amplifies cartel allegations to justify pressure. And Petro urges dialogue and sovereignty, hoping not to be consumed by either side. But the risks remain. Border deployments can spiral into clashes. Naval patrols can spark incidents. And in a region where rumor often bleeds into reality, perception alone can become the spark for conflict. For now, invasion talk is just talk. The White House has stayed silent on Cabello's announcement, but uncertainty is growing in Bogotá, where Petro's balancing act looks more precarious by the day. Every new deployment, declaration, or digital broadside raises the stakes. Each test pushes Petro closer to the edge of an impossible choice. Side with Washington, alienating Caracas, or stand by Maduro, inviting American wrath. Either way, the crisis has already achieved what Washington set out to create: pressure, isolation, and fracture within Venezuela's ruling elite. And in that struggle, Petro is not just an observer, but a reluctant participant. What began as a troop movement on a frontier is now a battle of narratives stretching across Latin America. The outcome may not be decided on the border or in the Caribbean, but in the halls of Bogotá, Caracas, and Washington, where strategy, survival, and sovereignty collide.